In the heart of a land rich with rolling plains and dense forests, where the sun painted the skies in golden hues each morning, there was a kingdom that had lived in peace for generations. But peace, as history has often shown, is a fragile thing. Across the distant mountains, foreign invaders, drawn by the whispers of wealth and conquest, began to cast their shadow over the land. The people of the kingdom were anxious. Fear had crept into the hearts of farmers, hunters, and even the council of elders. Stories of villages falling, treasures seized, and families torn apart had begun to spread like wildfire. Yet, amid this growing darkness, there stood a king whose resolve shone brighter than the sun itself. This king, young but wise beyond his years, had grown not in the halls of comfort but among the people. He had learned the ways of the warriors, the wisdom of the elders, and the art of leadership in the harshest of trials. His name was spoken with respect across the lands, a leader who would not bow, a king whose heart beat for freedom. When the news of the approaching invaders reached the palace, many advised caution. Some whispered that negotiation might save lives. Others, paralyzed by fear, suggested fleeing and preserving what little remained of their kingdom. But the king refused to entertain surrender. To him, freedom was not a luxury, it was a sacred birthright, the very essence of their identity. And he would defend it with every ounce of strength he possessed. He gathered his warriors, not just seasoned fighters, but young men and women who had never held a weapon in anger. To them, he spoke of courage, of honor, and of the land that had given them life, family, and heritage. "We fight," he declared, "not for power, not for glory, but for the freedom that belongs to every heartbeat of this kingdom. We fight so that our children will know the smell of rain on the plains, the songs of our elders, and the laughter of a life unshackled by fear." Days turned into weeks as the king drilled his army, not just in combat, but in strategy, unity, and resilience. He taught them that true strength was not in weapons alone, but in unwavering will to protect what is sacred. He encouraged them to see each setback as a lesson, every challenge as an opportunity to grow stronger, and every fear as a call to rise. When the invaders finally arrived, their numbers were immense. Their weapons were advanced, their formations disciplined, and their confidence unshakable. Yet, the king's army, though smaller and less equipped, had something that the invaders could never understand: a burning fire of purpose and a unity forged in loyalty and love for their land. The battle was fierce. The earth trembled beneath the clash of armies, and the sky itself seemed to mourn the cost of war. The king fought at the forefront, not from a place of arrogance, but from a deep sense of responsibility. Each swing of his spear, each command he shouted, was a reminder to his people that courage is contagious, and true leaders never ask others to do what they themselves will not. In the midst of the chaos, the king saw his soldiers faltering, their morale threatened by the overwhelming force of the enemy. He rode through the battlefield, his voice carrying over the cries of war. "Stand firm. Remember who you are. Remember why we fight." His words ignited a spark, a fierce determination that spread like wildfire among his warriors. The tide began to turn, through unmatched strategy, unbreakable courage, and a deep understanding of the land they fought to protect. The king and his army began to push back the invaders. Every step they gained was a testament to their unyielding spirit. Every victory, no matter how small, reminded them that freedom is never given, it is earned, defended, and cherished. By the end of the conflict, the invaders, though powerful, were forced to retreat. The kingdom had survived, not because of sheer numbers or superior technology, but because of the heart of its people and the indomitable will of a leader who refused to surrender. The king stood among his warriors, not as a conqueror, but as a protector. He looked over his land, its rivers, forests, and plains, and knew that freedom had been preserved for another generation. The story of this king did not end with the battle. He spent his years ensuring that his people would remain vigilant, wise, and united. He taught that freedom requires vigilance, that courage is a habit, and that leadership is measured not in titles, but in the willingness to stand for what is right, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And so, the tale of the king who fought for freedom became legend. A legend not because he was invincible, but because he dared to face the impossible, to rise when others faltered, and to inspire an entire nation to believe in the power of courage, unity, and unwavering resolve. Remember, the greatest battles are not always fought with swords, they are fought with the heart. Every time you stand up for what you believe, every time you refuse to bow in the face of adversity, you carry the spirit of this king within you. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Spread the courage, share the strength, and let the world know that no challenge is too great when the heart fights for freedom.